Greetings, legendary readers. Welcome to Larry's Legendary Library, where we explore science fiction, fantasy, and the deeper wonder within them. Last week, we uncovered secret identities, authors hiding behind pseudonyms. Today, we're going one step further in our Pseudonym Miniseries because some of those hidden authors might already be sitting quietly inside your collection. What if I told you that a story credited to a name you've never heard of was actually written by Robert A. Heinlein or Henry Kuttner or Robert Silverberg? And unless you knew what to look for, you'd never know. Because the golden age of science fiction wasn't just a battle of ideas, it was a game of identities. To understand hidden authors, you have to understand the system they were writing in. Magazine editors didn't want the same name appearing multiple times in a single issue. It looked repetitive. It felt less valuable. So authors adapted. They became multiple people. Robert A. Heinlein wrote under names like Anson MacDonald, Lyle Monroe, Caleb Sanders, and others. Not to hide, but because he had so many stories to tell. Others had different reasons. C.L. Moore used initials to move through a male-dominated field unnoticed. And Henry Kuttner and Moore together created entire webs of shared identities, stories where authorship itself becomes blurred. These weren't just fake names, they were alternate creative selves, different voices, different experiments, a single writer living multiple literary lives at once. So how do you actually find hidden authors in your collection? Let me give you some clues. Writers have fingerprints. Even under another name, you may notice recurring ideas, familiar structures, the same kinds of questions, similar vocabulary. If a story feels like a Heinlein, it might be a Heinlein. Some names appear once and then vanish. That's often a pseudonym used for just a single issue, a single story, a single slot, a solution to an editorial problem. With writers like Harry Kuttner and C.L. Moore, authorship becomes almost impossible to separate. Some stories were written together, some revised by the other, some impossible to untangle. So when you read these magazines, you're not just reading stories, you're reading layered identities, creative voices hidden in plain sight. But here's where this gets even more interesting, because this didn't stop with magazines. When science fiction moved into books, the hidden authors didn't disappear, they evolved. Famously, Stephen King became Richard Bachman. He did this to escape his own success, to test whether readers loved the story or just the name. Andre Norton chose a name that concealed identity, not for creative purposes, but for access as a woman in a male-dominated genre. Magazines taught authors how to hide. Books reveal why they needed to, not just to publish more, but to be accepted, to experiment, to become someone else, and still remain themselves. And this is where everything shifts, because your collection might not be what you think it is. That magazine may contain multiple major authors hidden behind unfamiliar names. That paperback, it might not belong to the author on the cover. You're not just collecting stories, you're collecting hidden appearances, disguised experiments, secret bibliographies. Your collection is not static. It reveals more over time. I keep finding out more and more about the books and magazines that I already own. The more you learn, the more your books change. This is what transforms collecting. It becomes active. You begin to ask, who really wrote this? Why this name? What else is hidden here? And suddenly, you're not just a reader, you're an investigator of story. Maybe these names weren't just meant to hide. Maybe they were meant to be discovered. So next time you pick up a book or a magazine, pause, take a moment, look at the name, because it might not be who you think it is. And that's the deeper wonder. If you enjoy this exploration, I encourage you to subscribe to Larry's Legendary Library, where we don't just collect stories, we explore the deeper wonder within them. Thank you so much for watching, and keep exploring the deeper wonder.